Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Whiffy Real podcast. I'm excited today to introduce to you guys a very special guest. And I know I say that for every episode, but this guy truly is a special guest because he not only is a special guest, I said that like 3 times already, dude.
Okay,
He's my friend. He's my good friend, Stanley Serrano. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for him.
Fireworks right here. Insert fireworks right here.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, thank you for having me, bro.
Dude, thank you for being here. I'm excited.
So, truth be told, I am your neighbor.
Yeah. Thank you.
And this is the most I've seen him in like a month.
Dude, I was gonna make a joke about the distance, but I was like, I don't know, because then I'm telling people where you live, you know. So
it's all good.
But
why
yeah,
are you telling people where you live?
Seriously, I thought that too, man. But I was like, you know what? I was gonna say, Stanley, thank you for traveling that whole long distance, dude.
Well, my joke was, sorry, I'm late on those traffic.
Yeah. He literally had to walk maybe what, 30 steps, bro?
30, yeah, not even 30.
Yeah, seriously, huh?
30, yeah, just literally.
Bro, so every guest that we have on the pod, we start with an AI introduction, dude.
Oh, wow.
So I always find it interesting because I just type in very minimal information on you guys and it generates an introduction, dude. So I'm super excited.
Uh-oh.
I think it's very fitting for you, dude. And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, if you know the scene, you know Stanley Serrano, a true staple in the Phoenix Valley. He's been blessing stages, studios, and souls for years with that signature sound, smooth vocals, crazy musicality, and a vibe that's all heart and no ego. Whether he's leading a room in worship or dropping heat in stages across the Phoenix Valley, Stanley's presence hits different.
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stanley Serrano.
You know what would be cool with that intro if you do like a robotic voice, like have an actual Stanley Serrano, but like an old 80s AI kind of voice before it was like all sophisticated like it is now.
Yeah, dude.
You can change languages. You can do like different accents now.
Dude, it's impressive me, AI, dude, what all the capabilities that it has, dude.
Oh, yeah. How often do you use it?
With this, frequent, dude.
It's telling you like different like stuff to do, ideas, and
so
how to post.
Yes. Yeah. And then also it's helping me cut the video, dude. So all the shorts you see on the short side of the podcast, it's AI, dude.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Dude, honestly, the job for podcasting.
Is that a nickname you have for him?
Yeah, by AI, I'm referring to Noah. No, dude.
That's your nickname, bro.
Yeah, that's his nickname now. No, dude. Seriously, Noah, he does an incredible job with the switching.
Yeah.
So he saves me a bunch of time with editing.
Oh, yeah.
And then I just literally like do, very minimal cuts here and there because for the intro and the outro.
Yeah.
And then I upload it to Opus Clip. I use Opus Clip.
Okay.
And so Opus Clip is like an AI thing.
And it cuts it pretty good?
Dude, it cuts it really good. This is the first time.
Sponsorship?
I know, dude. Are you listening, Opus?
But actually, that's a cool little thing. Also helpful for anybody who wants to start a podcast, that there are tools out there now that are helping so much.
Yes.
When we did a podcast back in 2020, before even the pandemic, we started like January.
Yeah.
And dude, I used to edit all 3 camera angles by myself.
Dang,
and that's a lot of work.
It is.
It was also part of the reason why I burned out because it's just so much editing, man.
Yeah. You know what, dude?
I wish I had a switcher. I would have done the Ruslan thing. Ruslan has a switcher that he's always switching on his own.
Yeah, and he does it on his own. Yeah,
and he's always like switching. He has it right here, and he's always like,
yeah.
But,
and he has I think he has a 4K capability, dude, because he uses another switcher. But honestly, dude, I did my research, and the Rode, that was the best option for me. I think.
There you go.
Because it does a bunch of things, dude. Not just switching, you know. And so,
I like gear, so like just the stuff that's coming out. Rode has come out with so many cool.
Dude, Rode is legit, dude.
it really is being like consumer friendly and for people who are generating content like you and I think it's doing great stuff.
Rode, I love Rode, man. Rode, if you would ever.
Hey, you never know. You never know. Come knocking at the door.
Seriously, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So thank you for being here, dude. I'm excited to have you here because, like I said earlier, you are a special guest, and what you do is very special, dude. It's very unique, man. And you're one of the few people that I know personally that's in my inner circle that you actually live the dream, so to speak, dude. You know, you do what you love, you know? And so I want you to share that with the audience, obviously, man. But before we get to what you do, usually when I interview people, or at least the guest I've had on, we'll touch on their life story. But I feel your life story is different in that it's like intertwined with what you do.
Right.
Because you do what you love, man. And so I want you to like start at the beginning, you know, where you were born, where you come from, and where you going, my brother. And then we'll touch on like, you know, we'll just talk, dude.
It's all good, bro. We'll have a conversation. I know you know my story, but I'm glad to share with your audience. Thank you for having me. I'm excited for your podcast, bro, because I know you talked about it. I saw you work on this place.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things about you is that you have an idea, you run with it, and you go all in, which is amazing. It's, you know, I've seen you do it with a couple of businesses you've had, and now I'm seeing it with this, and I'm sitting down right here in a cool down garage.
Yeah.
Which it wasn't the case.
In Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, in Phoenix, Arizona, which is kind of hard. You
Yeah.
know, garages are hot here, especially right now.
Yeah.
But you know, I think my story starts with a prayer. My parents, you know, they met in Los Angeles in the 70s. They're both from El Salvador, and they met, and through that they also met God, you know, and meeting God when they got married, and they made a decision to dedicate their kids to Him, you know, and particularly me, you know, they're like, if we have a son, we want to dedicate him to you. And I think that's a very important thing, because a lot of people forget about the prayer part, you know. There's the gratitude prayer, there's the excited prayer, there's the nervousness prayer. But being intentional, you know, and what you do is also important. Be like, hey, we're going to come together, we're going to bring a family. But before anything, God, we want to bring you into our circle and bring us purpose and bring a reason, and we want to just give them to you. And I think that's where it starts to me. And so, you know, right away, my mom says at 6 months, I would hum songs from church. She says, you didn't even speak words well yet, but you can hum tunes. And we knew what songs you were singing. And it's like, you know, so like before I spoke, I sung, kind of thing, you know, and it's just something that I think music just was in my life, you know, just very early on, from hearing stuff from church. You know, you're a product of the environment. Sometimes you don't know what you're hearing, you know, sometimes it's something catches you. Music, I think, was a thing that caught me very, very early. And they realized that talent.
Dude. So music became a part of your life very early on, dude.
Yeah.
And at this time, you guys are living in Los Angeles,
California. Born
What part of LA, dude?
Downtown LA.
Downtown LA.
Yeah. I was born in the hospital in East LA, which is the General Hospital of LA, one of the biggest ones. And at the time, my parents lived in kind of close to Hollywood. We were like on Normal in Vermont, if anybody from California knows. So it's just kind of like the heart where like LA Community College is at right there. It's very central.
Yeah, very centralized, sounds like, dude.
Yeah, my parents are both working parents. You know, my mom worked in the bank for 20 plus years, and my dad worked at a factory. So, you know, he was a cutter. So all the clothing you see now is done by machines, but before it was actual people cutting the blueprints.
Get out, dude.
And then it goes to a different company, and then it gets sewn. So my dad was a cutter. So they would lay out all the fabric.
Yeah.
And like layers of plies and yards of fabric. Then you had to cut that. You know, he was in downtown right there in the fashion district and downtown LA. You know, the Latinos call it the chinos. It's only because, you know, the majority of Asian communities are the ones that sell, you know, and they'll sell brand stuff really cheap in downtown LA. Just,
yeah.
Everybody knows it like that. So my dad worked right there for years, 20-something years, you know. And so, you know, they're working class citizens just, you know, trying to. But we grew up in Linwood. It was just south of LA. After that, we moved from downtown LA, we moved to Linwood. And Linwood is just a south, it's like, it's a suburb just south of LA, but it was, you know, I was surrounded. Compton was literally like just like a mile from me.
Yeah.
Watts.
Yeah.
You know, Southgate.
Yeah.
So, you know, the area was kind of rough.
Yeah, I hear you, dude. I had some familia, dog, that grew up there. Nah, I'm just kidding.
I'm pretty sure. I'm
but
pretty sure.
but you know
Everybody has family. That
yeah,
goes up
seriously,
there.
dude. Yeah, dude. That's awesome. That's awesome. What high school did you go to, dude?
We ended up going to Calvary Chapel High in Downey. So Downey
Cool.
was the next town to the east, and my parents worked hard because they didn't want to put us in public school.
Right, dude.
They were like, "Yeah, you guys are not going to public school." I mean, you know, the public school is like metal detectors and
Right, dude. Right.
gang fights and jumps.
Yeah,
and
especially in that time. I remember there was like
yeah, you couldn't wear certain colors, and
Yeah.
you know, then you get affiliated. And so my parents worked their butts off. I mean, I'm talking about paid extra money that I'm sure they didn't have. You know, you don't appreciate it when you're a kid.
right, right.
When you're older and you think, you know, now you think about, I go, how did my parents do this? Like, this
Right,
is,
dude.
wow. Like,
Right.
it's just a sacrifice they did, and you know, I'm grateful for it,
Mm.
and I realize it now. But it's interesting, man. It's just,
Dude, so just real quick, going back to your intro, dude, because I know you and I know you have a brother.
oh, yeah.
You were like, yeah, my parents were like, yeah, they prayed for me specifically for me.
Well, because we're talking about me. But
If your brother hears
my
this, dude, he's
brother-
gonna be like, what the?
shout out to Donnie.
Yeah. Shout out, dude.
I'm sure Donnie would be like, of course.
The favorite one. You know, it's funny, dude, because I have another friend who he has siblings too,
Yeah.
but everybody knows he's the favorite one, dude.
Oh,
like
that's
the
interesting.
mom, dude. you
That's
know?
interesting.
But,
I don't know who the favorite would be. I mean, you know, growing up, once I started gigging, you know, when we were like in our teenage, and my brother started gigging, you know, as well, and he was around 13, 14. I would come home really late, like maybe like 1 a.m. And my mom was waiting upstairs, like, "Oh, mom, you didn't have to wait." He's like, "No, I was waiting for Donnie." He's like, "Go to bed." He's like, "You go to bed." "No, I'm waiting for your brother." I was like, "Your brother's not." I was like, "Oh, she wasn't waiting for me." I was like, "I was waiting for Donnie."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, so during this time, you know, you're growing up in LA, dude. Music becomes a part of your life. Tell us, dude. Obviously, I know your story, but getting into the music stuff
Yeah.
for you now.
I feel like church used to be a little different before. You know, we grew up we were very fortunate to be part of this community in LA. It was an up and coming church, but it was growing really rapidly, and it became a pretty prominent church as I grew up there. But they used to allow kids to grow, you know, and their talents. I feel like I don't see that no more, and especially in these big structured
Right.
mega churches,
Right,
or
right.
even this big structure like, you know, professional churches. I
Right,
should
right,
call
right.
it professional church. But before, there used to be a lot more, you know, Sundays. Hey, let's bring out the kids and have them do a talent thing. So I was 3 years old, and my first talent show was to sing 3 songs.
3 years old, bro.
3 years old.
3 songs.
3 songs. Me and an acoustic guitar player. It's a good friend of mine, mutual friend of ours, Danny Laros.
Dude, no way. man.
His dad played acoustic guitar. I was 3 years old, and I sang these 3 songs by myself on a Sunday morning, you know, at church. And at the time, we didn't have a building, so we were at the Virgil Junior High auditorium, and we used to pack it. I mean, it was you know, every Sunday, you know, bring audio, bring the setup. And my dad used to always be part of the ushers and help out.
Right.
And so that was my first music experience, you know, like singing in public. And I was very confident just as a kid.
You just did it.
I loved it. My parents are not very good at public speaking. You know, they get a little shy about it. They freak out when they go in public. But I was totally not like that.
Yeah, you
know?
were the opposite.
Yeah, I didn't mind singing, and I was confident enough. And through that, just little by little, I would get invited, you know, on Sundays. Oh, what about if he recites a chapter of the Bible? So I would memorize a chapter of the Bible in Spanish and sing it, or recite it, or say it. And
Dude, they
like-
saw your talent at 3 years old.
well, you
bro.
know, it's just interesting. It was just interesting, and so just the conversation. And I remember I was when the conversation came up, I was singing at a birthday party. I'm like 4 or 5 around here, and
Because they asked you to?
yeah.
come out?
Well, go, and then they told my dad, hey, why don't you talk to this certain gentleman who's a producer. His name is Eddie Soto, and he was the music director of the church. He goes, he has a studio. You should talk to him about, recording some stuff. And that's kind of how it happened. I remember I was going to kindergarten, about to start first grade, and I would be taken out of class and head out to a studio and record.
No way, dude.
Record songs. My dad, my mom, I think it was my mom. I don't remember who used to take me up, but I remember like the first time being a kid, I was like 5 or 6, and just seeing all the equipment, all his keyboards and his recording software and his reel to reel, and I'm just going, this is what I want to do, and I will love, like, this is like, you can do this, like, I didn't know the extent of it, I mean, it wasn't like a high end, it wasn't like Ocean Way or Capitol Records or something like that. It was someone's home studio, and home studios back then was bulky, It's just not like now you can minimize a lot.
Right.
But I remember loving it. And I remember going through the process of recording all afternoon to like the nighttime, and then going home and then having to do it again, like just the process. And there was a lot of songs that I was already singing. It was worship music, praise and worship music in Spanish, but it was a lot of songs I knew already from church. And he had arranged it a certain way for my voice. And so that was like a neat experience, man. And I just don't know how we went from that. I don't know, because my parents are not marketers. They're not, they won't sell you anything. You know what I'm saying? They're not sellers.
Right.
But I don't know how word of mouth happened from recording that and that coming out to getting invited almost every weekend.
So how old were you at this time?
Yeah, it was like 5 or 6, man.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
So at 5 years old, bro, you had your first album.
Yeah.
Dang. That's crazy. Dang.
My brother and I, actually, my brother's in the cover too, so. But he only sings one song, which
he's like in the back.
Yeah, he gets in that. What's funny about that album is that it was a tape, right? So the tape came out and said Stanley Serrano. It doesn't say my brother's name. Even though he's on the cover, and he's still butthurt about that.
That's funny, dude.
That wasn't my decision, but we're both on the cover. He does sing a song, which the song he sings that we do a duet is a song I sang when I was 3 years old. One of the first songs
That's
that
crazy,
sung in public
dude.
is one of the songs that we ended up doing.
Yeah.
It was a Manuel Bonilla song. Manuel Bonilla was an old classic singer from back in the day called El Barco, and it was just a classic song. It's just, I grew up listening to Manuel Bonilla. He used to do a lot of kids' music back in the days, and
dude,
not a classic.
Not to change the subject, we'll come back to the story real quick, but I just find it interesting how the church, I feel like, has been an incubator, dude, for a lot of artists that we know in today's day and age.
Oh yeah,
and in the past too,
Oh yeah,
and not just Christian artists, but like secular artists or just artists, But
church is like a starting point.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
I think we have to take care of that though, because the way it's going now, I sometimes feel like you don't really give it space. You make people sound a certain way. You know what I'm saying? You're making a mold of like, no, you got to play like this or else you can't play. And instead of developing the artistry, like,
right.
Back in the days, like once I was a teenager and I was playing already, you wanted a chance to play on the main stage. They would like set up like a drum and then a bass amp on the audience while the main guys on stage were playing. And sometimes a guy will go around listening to you. But hey, why don't you play this song that we're about to rehearse? Let me hear what you sound like. So like it gives you an idea to like develop yourself a little bit. Now it's so structured, which is a good thing in a lot of ways because there's a mold, right? Like you can place them in, if you have multiple campuses, you can place them multiple campuses. Everyone sounds the same. But what we're going away from is independent sound, like the way that individual sounds.
Yeah, the organicness.
Just the way the way a person structures their guitar, their keys, their drums, it like be like, okay, cool, give me a little more of that. Give me more of you. Let me hear more of you instead of let me hear the record. No, play like the record. And everyone's just like this. And it saddens me a little bit because I feel like we should go back to the old.
So when you're saying like we should take care of that, you mean like the perspective you're giving is like we shouldn't package it so tightly. We should leave some breathing room for people to express themselves artistically.
Of course. I mean, you go to like places like LA or New York and you go see live music. The thing I love about it is how everyone else doesn't sound like themselves, like everyone else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they sound like themselves. You go hear a certain drummers because that's how he sounds, and it's so unique to that. And they're not trying to sound like a mold. They're not trying to
Right.
sound like, and it gives it like different textures. Like it's like painting, right? I'm gonna paint wall. Well, what shade of white are you gonna do? Like,
Right.
what shade of red are you gonna do? Like, there's so many different shades, and the way you portray that shade, it's not gonna be how that person else portrays that shade. And
Right.
that's a beautiful thing. And I feel like these modern churches are taking that away
Yeah.
from the artists, from the artistry of music, from the
Right.
musicianship. I feel like we need to bring that back.
Yeah, there's definitely a mold for sure, dude. And you know what, dude? To add to that, and this is just my opinion, I feel like when uniqueness and creativity pops out of that, like it pops out to the surface, then now everybody copies that, you know?
Right.
And then that becomes a standard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude. But like you said, going back to what you said, what makes it so special in those instances is the uniqueness of that individual, you know?
Yeah. I kind of miss that.
Yeah, yeah.
Just let that person develop and
Dude,
and praise that. And then, if there's something to correct, I mean, I got my correction too when I was growing up playing, but you need that too.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too. Like, you need that criticism to grow and that push, instead of saying, nah, you're not good enough, and you don't call them again, but you don't tell them. Right. Like, man, I used to get my head chewed off sometimes. Like, can't you tell the time? Play on time. Blah, blah, blah. So you're like, oh man, I'm not playing as good as I think. I'm getting all these pointers, and sometimes it's harsh, and sometimes you need your butt kicked.
Yeah.
And that motivates, well, because that's gonna determine
from the pews. You saw your dad. Wait till we get home.
Fortunate for me, my parents weren't the one, but it was like people I looked up to,
Right.
People I wanted to impress, or people I wanted to at least get the nod, and
Yeah,
and
for sure,
I'd been in situations where like I've been way over my head, and they kicked my butt verbally, kicked my butt, where like it either makes you want to like quit, or it makes you want to go, I'm going to prove them wrong. And so I always had to drive because I wanted to play, and I know this is what I wanted to do. It's like, no, I'm going to get better, and I'm going to show them that I can do it. And at the end, obviously they were like, dude, you did it. And that was just like a confirmation that I can do it. I just have to put into work, and just do it. But a lot of times, sometimes even like when we don't, I being in a big church, sometimes instead of saying anything, we just don't call them. That doesn't help anybody.
Right.
That doesn't help them improve. That doesn't help. You got to be like, hey man, I don't like what you're doing.
Right.
No, you don't sound good. You sound sloppy.
Right.
And it's okay, man. Like, we could, if you're a musician and you want to do it, you got to take it. Like, it's just part of it.
If
It's just
you
part
want
of
to grow, dude,
And that's in anything.
be the best. Be
Anything in
Stanley.
life. I don't know about Stanley, man. I'm trying to grow still, man. I still surround myself with musicians who kick my butt all the time.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like, I'm like, I got to be on top of my game, and I got to be on top of my craft, because I don't want to be the weakest link, just so.
Dude, so going back to your story real quick. So we were at the part where you record your album. You're 5 years old. You start getting invited to places and stuff like that, man.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward a little bit, dude. So boom, that happens. Where does that take you, and what does your future look like after that, dude?
For a long time, that's kind of our routine. Our calendar starts getting really full. There used to be a calendar in our kitchen. The calendar you used to get from the ours is from Rioja, which is like the liquor store where we used to buy a lot of a lot of the celeries, and my mom used to it was a carniceria.
Yeah.
But it was a liquor store too. I used to get the Lucas. Remember the Lucas?
Yeah, dude.
Hey, y'all don't know. Anyways, you don't know what I'm talking about. You get the Lucas and put it down and just lick it on. That was the best. Anyway,
For sure, dude.
Pan dulce. Like everything was in that
You
liquor
still
store.
like pan dulce? Right?
I still, man, I'm a stickler to pan dulce. And not a stickler. I love pan dulce. Why am I a stickler? That's terrible. Anyways, so that calendar used to get full like every weekend. I don't know how that happened. Eventually, what started happening was I remember a conversation my mom had. She goes, "Hey, there's a new invitation coming in, but this one's unique. They want you to sing but they want to know if you'd be down to preach.
Mm.
I'm like 7
Mm.
at this point.
Wow, dude. Talk about the pressure. That's crazy.
And so I remember my mom. I remember when my mom told me this conversation, and she was like, "Think about it. Like, I don't want to pressure you to do anything." That was a cool thing. My parents always used to ask me how I felt about certain stuff, and like they didn't want it to be pushed, or a pressure from them. But they're like, "Hey, think about it. And it's a 3-day event, so 3 days of preaching."
Dang, dude. And you were the guy.
I was the guy.
Dang.
And I remember going, "Okay, let's do it." And then it was a different dynamic, because before I was just singing, I could do it. We already had the tracks. I would go around, play whatever.
Yeah.
The afternoons until I was ready to get ready, shower, head out to wear my suit. I used to wear a suit all the time.
No way, dude.
And then I would pick the set list. So we had like a little carriage with my tapes. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna sing this today."
Get out, dude.
No, I'm serious.
At that age, you were already like on it, dude.
I'd give it my dad, and my dad would go to the sound guy.
Dude, 7 years old, you're filling dates, dude. You have a calendar.
Yeah.
You're on the road, bro. You're like your own musical director,
I'm
man.
my own musical director.
Dang,
Tapes.
dude. I told you not to play that one, fool.
No. What's cool about those tapes is that the way the producer did them is that each tape was a song, so there was no way.
Dude,
Man,
dude.
oh my God, there was so many times there'd be like guest singers, and there'd be like the wrong side. These kids are not gonna know what the heck we're talking about, because they're like, side. You just click on the song and it just plays. I was like, nah, man. There are people that have like hour-long songs, like, and then on the other side, and so maybe they had a cue on side A, but if you put it on side B, now you're on the other side, right?
You screwed it up, dude.
Yeah, you screwed it up, and it's like the wrong song, like in the middle of the song, and they'd be like, no, it's the other side, bro. And then they have to go back to the other side, and then play it goes after this song, and then rewind. It's like. And then that awkwardness, like
the awkwardness, bro.
In Spanish, they could always be like, "Oh, glory to God,
Yeah.
Amen, Amen, Gloria a Dios, Amen." And then the awkwardness would be like, "Oh,
dude,
like,
I grew up in those churches, dog.
Well, I know, I went to all those churches. It wasn't even the churches; it was sometimes the guests. Like, this is how the guests had their
dude.
And so, thankfully, the producer that he made us. It was like a single tape for every song.
Yeah, you can't screw it up.
And it was just for one song. And it wasn't even long enough to hold another song. So every song had I had like I actually have them in my garage. I have them right there, like
no way, dude.
The actual tapes. I just take them out and I just tell my dad like what songs to do. So this was a different dynamic, having to start to preach, because now I have to prepare what I have to say and what I got to do. And so I've never been really good at research, but my dad, this is where my dad comes in hardcore. My dad was never really a preacher. He was never really like a pastor at church. He was more like an usher. He was a deacon, but he never really like was a public speaker like that. But one thing he was is that he was a Bible studier. He studied the Bible, and he still does. He's just his habit. My dad's habit has never been to like take the pastor's word for it, and that's something he always taught. He always taught me that, right? So, my dad was a person that he would spend a lot of time. You see his Bible, and it's like so many notes. Oh my goodness, so many notes. So my dad would spend. He would start thinking about, what this event meant. Most of the time it was a kid event. Back then, I'm telling you, church was different. They used to do campaigns, like crusades for kids.
Right.
3 days crusades.
That's crazy, dude.
So, and none of this, like, kids now, you have to put bungee stuff, and you have to keep their attention by making them run around and play. No, these kids would sit through service like a normal adult. The only difference, it was ran by kids.
That's
they
crazy.
Would lead worship for an hour.
Yeah.
And if the singer or the preacher would come, they would preach for as long as it was. And it was a normal church setting, except for the kids were sitting at the front.
Yeah,
This is
crazy,
a different. Yeah. It was a different era,
different times for sure, dude.
I don't remember kids sleeping. I don't remember kids being uneasy. It was a different dynamic, and obviously, they would make it like, enjoyable, would make them laugh and make sure everyone was cool and the kids, but they would sit through it. Like it was just a different time, bro. And so, and then these kids were all dressed up for church. Nobody's like in hats and shorts. It's weird. It was just a different time. You don't see that no more. And so my dad would like pray and, what would he think the message should be, and then would prepare it. And I would see him prepare for like a week or whatever. And he's like, all right, I think this is what you're going to talk about. And then he would sit with me and then we'll sit for like a
hash it out, dude.
Like all nighters, bro. I'd go play outside all night. Like 8 o'clock after dinner. He's like, all right, we're going to study. And I remember being there till like 12.
Get out, dude.
And he's explaining to me verse by verse. And that's not, he wouldn't give me one verse and then go from there. It'd be like a list of 12 verses.
Right.
Of the progress of, here's the idea of the sermon. This is the introduction. This is where we're going to start. And then this is how we're going to, and how we're going to get, and then the pointers of why.
Dang, that's crazy, dude. That you would know how to deliver that at 7 years old, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it is a little crazy. I think about it now as an adult and I'm like, that's a little, as a kid, I was a little more daring. I was like, yeah, let's go do it. Yeah. I would think about it 20 times before doing that. I'd be like, I don't know, just because of the responsibility of carrying such message.
Dude, what an incredible story, man.
To the crowd. But, that's what I started doing. Then the dynamic changed. We did do a second album. I was like 7 or 8. We did a second album. Oh, my brother featured this time. And his name is more on the title.
His name actually appeared, dog.
Yeah. And,
hey, let's fast forward real quick to you now start playing the bass. Is that the instrument that you started with, or no?
No. I started as a drummer.
As a drummer.
I was like 6, 7.
6, 7 when you started, and then let's fast forward to the part where at this point you're like a teenager. You've been doing music obviously all these years. You've been filling calendars, doing dates.
Yeah.
At one point, not only just singing, but you're preaching. And then let's talk about that next progression, dude. Yep. So when you get picked up to start going on tour and how.
Well, that one was so I'm transitioning. I think by 14 I'm not preaching as much by decision, and also the calls don't come in as much. I'm playing more, so I love that. By this time I'm playing a little more. I'm doing more big events. Back then there was a lot more important events, and I had a couple of people that would call me to go play, and there's this singer at the time. His name was Gamaliel Ruiz. He becomes our youth pastor, and he got to know us, and he got to kind of pastor us to the whole ministry at church. And he was already a singer, and he had just finished his second album. He decides to step back from pastoring so he can do music full time. When he does that, he puts the band together from the church that we're at, from us.
Yeah.
And then by then it's me and a couple of friends of ours, and this is where we start, like, now getting out of LA and playing and doing concerts.
So at this point, you're traveling with this guy.
Yeah.
Because he's a musician. He has his own record out.
Yeah, he's a singer.
Like that. He's a singer.
He had his own like record company, kind of production company, and that's like my first taste to now just being a sideman. I'm just a sideman now. Just a
cool. So you go from you're the show, you're the guy, dude.
Yeah.
To now being the sideman as a musician,
which I loved.
Yeah. How was that transition? And obviously, like you said, it's evident that you love it because you're an amazing musician.
So because I grew up in this whole ambiance, I wasn't allowed to see a lot of artists outside of the Christian realm. I wasn't allowed to listen to music outside of the Christian. So I didn't really have a lot of good representation of singers that I looked up to. Maybe it would have been different. But since I didn't, I looked up to musicians. I thought the musicians were the cooler guys. Just something about musicians' vibe I like more. I still like more. I like musicians' vibe more. Sometimes artists can be interesting, but there's just a vibe between, Yeah. Now, there's artists who are musicians that totally act like musicians first. And that's a totally different thing. But then there's the artists who are not musicians, and usually there's like a gap, which is weird. And although we know we need each other, it's weird. So the musicians were always the cool guys. I was always attracted to musicians. Like, something about the musicians was just so cool. And seeing like cats. I got to see like in '93, I want to say, like Integrity Music was doing a thing, and they did a concert in our church. And at the time, they were barely starting to do Latin artists. Frankie Aldo came to the church. Well, because I knew record like credits, that night I saw like John Peña, which is like an amazing bass player. Ramon Stagnaro, who like, man, is an amazing guitar player from Peru, but they're all LA cats. John Peña's from New York. And I'm seeing these guys play live. Everything I had heard like on these Integrity records, now I'm seeing them play live. And the way they're playing, the level of their playing was at another, like nothing I had ever seen at any church I'd ever gone to. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd gone to many churches. I'd seen many church bands. I'd seen a lot of people, and I didn't know much. Like I didn't know, like my dad never took me to a jazz club. He never took me to go see a concert. So because he didn't know, and it's not on him, you know, he just didn't know. I didn't know. And all I knew was church musicians. Like I could tell you who the best church musicians were, and I thought they were like badass, you know. And then I see these guys come in, and the level of playing, like immediately was just at another level. Like just the professionalism, their reading, and I was just like, what is happening here? And by then I'm listening to Integrity Music a lot. So Ron Canoli, everybody. Ron Canoli had like Abe Laborio. Abe Laborio was another one who inspired me.
Right.
I'm seeing these guys, like I didn't know it at the time, but that's who everybody was using on records in the 80s and 70s and 80s, whatever. These were the guys.
Yeah, Madonna, Michael Jackson, that's who they were using.
Everybody, Luis Miguel, and like Justo Mario and Alex Acuna and Chester Thompson, Paul Jackson Jr. And I'm like, I knew these names, but I just didn't know how far their careers extended. But I just knew they played at a different level. And so I'm like, I'm seeing that. So that attracts me. Like that, I love people that play this stuff at an excellent level. So when we get the call, what got me to start traveling, that was my goal, to be a sideman like those guys. I wanted to be a musician like that. I wanted to be like that good, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that good and could play anything, could play any style. I wanted to be so versatile like them. I wanted to be like professional like them. I wanted to come and do a gig and know your stuff from beginning to end, and let's do it. That was my goal.
Dude, so that's your inspiration?
Yeah.
And then you start traveling with this guy.
Yeah.
Dude. Tell us just real quick, like you guys would travel. How was the traveling? What were some of the cool experiences there, like in a nutshell?
So that one was cool because it wasn't like high from the beginning, because he was starting to get known. So there was a lot of staying in people's homes, you know, in Mexico, and they staying in the floor. Sometimes it was a nice hotel, sometimes it wasn't. Sometimes it was like bougie, sometimes it wasn't. Most of the time it wasn't, you know?
Yeah.
But it was a lot of like breaking ground. But it was cool. We got to meet a lot of people and a lot of musicians, and we got to be in big stages sometimes, and sometimes we'd be in the small stages. But I learned to be the same. I learned to play the same dynamic, give it the same heart, whether it was with 10 people or thousands. And one of the peak of that career, which was really, really kind of cool, in 2001, October 2001, we got to play at a Billy Graham Crusade.
No way.
That was like the highlight. And we got to play the night that it was the same night with Kirk Franklin and DC Talk, and we were actually in the bill. So it was us. So it was Gamaliel Ruiz band, and we're in a picture.
Get out, dude.
Not lying. It was us. It was Kirk Franklin and DC Talk, and then it was the youth night, and we were representing the Latinos, Fresno, California, at the Bulldog Stadium.
Get out, dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and that was probably the biggest highlight from that whole experience, traveling with him and getting to that point.
Yeah.
And how everything worked out. God knows what he's doing. And I always believe that. And we were just at the right time at the right place. And that was amazing. And to see DC Talk and Kirk Franklin, who, you grow up listening to those guys.
Yeah.
Jesus Freak being the biggest record. Bro,
Yeah.
Like just the big record. That's just such a big record. And so, and even Kirk Franklin and that record with Stomp is at with the family and man, I love it. I know that record like by heart, you know. So
Dude, we'll touch base on DC Talk, dude, because I want to get your thoughts on
oh yeah,
recent events.
oh yeah.
But
No, that saddens me because I got to meet.
Well, let's not talk about it yet.
I got to meet all three of them, and that was kind of cool. And I got to see them from side stage.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have to go sit down. I could see them
Yeah.
from side stage. And when Billy Graham was preaching, I got to sit on stage. So I was literally sitting like next to like Franklin Graham was right there, and we were all on stage. I don't know what the heck we were doing there, but he wanted everybody who performed to go. And we sat. I was on stage, and I saw the man get wheelchaired in from Secret Service.
No way, dude.
Well, it was a month after 9/11.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so it was like, like it was like we had a no-fly zone. Like we also had like jets like protecting the air.
Get out.
That was a whole
dude.
thing, yeah, because he has he had the presidential protection. So,
Oh, he was like probably like doing something at the White House.
no,
during that time?
because I think he's not with us no more, but he was an advisor for so many presidents.
Oh, I see.
I don't know how that works, but as a gift, like for the rest of his life, I think he always had like presidential protection.
Dude, that's interesting, dude. I didn't know that was the case for Billy Graham, dude.
Yeah, no, that it was crazy to see him in a wheelchair. He came in, then he stood up, and then he preached, and then you see a whole bunch of people come forward. It was great, simple message.
Yeah.
But it just like I can still remember how the lights were hitting me while I'm sitting there and I'm watching him. I could see him like that. I'm just like, whoa, like I cannot believe this is happening. Like that was crazy.
Yeah, you were in on, dude.
Yeah, my parents were there and my brother was there. I remember they were in the audience.
What was his vibe like, dude? Like, what from
Simple,
what you remember, dude?
simple. Yeah, I didn't get to meet him like that. I did get to meet the musicians, but I know Gamaliel got to meet him. I didn't get to meet him.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Dude, so from there you catapult, dude, to a bigger stage and a bigger opportunity to tour and travel, right?
Yeah.
So that was your first experience.
That was my first experience.
where you got your chops.
That was a good one. Hey, rehearsal, man, we used to rehearse. What got me, I think, we used to rehearse like 8 hours.
Get out, dude.
Sometimes like twice a week. It was like nonstop. It was like sometimes bleeding our fingers.
Dang.
But it was just getting tight. And I think that was preparing us for a lot
Yeah.
of things in our life. I see it now, even me playing with my trio, because it was a trio and then the singer, like with him, So it was like, even playing with my trio now, just a lot of the stuff that I learned from that experience, I still adapt, even how to like fill it up sonically,
Right.
how to like sound tight, just
Right.
all that stuff. I learned a lot from that. And after that, I get a call from Annette Moreno. That was in 2003, 2004. And, to join her band. And that was a totally different experience and really, really cool one too. And only because at the time she was really, really big with the Una Llora, the record. And she was, she was starting to get pretty big, and just joining that time and seeing just how things were changing in the music scene. Now I'm no longer playing at churches no more, doing.
Right.
Now we're doing concerts, which is a totally different dynamic.
Yeah.
And
So how many years
staying
did
in nicer hotels? Thank God, no more homes.
No more hard floors, bro.
No more hard floor.
Dude.
The scariest one sometimes would be like when people had like just I don't know, just be weird animals. For me, be weird animals. I have a bird phobia, so like they had like pigeons. Like
dude.
freaky.
That's funny you say that, dude. So you start touring with Annette Moreno, dude. At this point, like you said, things start to change. You go from basically local churches to stadiums now. Bigger
Arenas,
arenas, bigger venues.
Yeah.
And obviously your experience in touring changes. How many years did you travel with her, man?
4.5 years. I think it was 4.5 years or 5. I don't remember. One of those two. That was cool because I got to learn. I got to do more recordings with her, so that was really nice. I got the experience to be in recording
in the studio too.
Yeah, and I also got to learn a little bit of how the studio works through her brother Eli Moreno. Everyone calls him Tweety, and he was like my big bro. He was like the big bro. I never had a big brother, but he became kind of like my big brother. I still see him like that, you know, and he just kind of taught me the ropes. He gave me my first software recording program. He's like, "Here,
No
man."
way, dude.
Yeah, yeah, and he put it on my laptop and like just kind of learning, just watching him how he would compose songs and arrange and hearing it and just loving his mind and the way he, you know, I think he's an underrated producer that a lot of people don't give props to. I think he's a great producer. And a lot of the Annette's success, besides, you know, her songwriting is great, has to do with him, you know, and the way he produced and arranged these songs and the way they worked together was so, it was just a magic. It was just really, really cool. And you know, he was also, you know, married with his kids and just seeing just the example of a man and the relationship with his wife. And it was like probably one of the first experiences I would go like, okay, like it's possible, you know, because you go, okay, I want to tour, blah, blah, but is it possible to tour and still have family? Is it possible to have that balance? And what does that look like? And just seeing the dynamic between him and his wife, that was a great experience to me. Just seeing the love and the respect and that they had for each other gave me hope, you know, because they go, okay, it is possible. It just, it requires a great team.
Right. The
You
right
know,
person.
and it is a team, you know, and I would
Yeah.
see she would hold it down when he was gone and they were a great team. And they're still a great team even now. Like, you know, the kids are big now. I see some of the pictures. I'm like, oh my God, I remember when you were tiny, like I used to carry you, and they're huge. And so that was such a neat experience. And her allowing me to be part of her team, playing bass and giving me that freedom. She did give us a lot of freedom. Yeah, we had to play a lot of songs like the record, but there's a lot of Stanley-isms in the bass. There's a lot of Donnie-isms on the drums. Donnie was on drums. Even my friend Chepe on guitar. And there's a lot of stuff that we were given freedom to do that kind of became a staple of the sound of what we were doing. And that was a neat thing to see and how cool and relaxed they were and just how driven they were too. And to see that one of the big things I've always admired of Annette is her drive. Like she's a person that I think she's a person that will never go hungry. And I love people like that, you know, like they're go-getters, and she's a go-getter. And so is her brother Eli. Like both of them are just go-getters. Like they don't conform, you know, to where they're at. They want to always better themselves. And I think that speaks a lot of their success. I think it speaks a lot to why they became who they are. Yeah. And why people like the songs. And there was just a connection. And what she was doing too. And, you know, the Christian Spanish scene was so weird too when it came to strong women. It still kind of is like that, but not as much as it was before, especially in the Latin world. You know, seeing a strong, independent woman was very hard for people to swallow. And she's very opinionated, you know, and she's very, you know, she has strong opinions, and she has and just seeing the dynamic of, you know, I've seen pastors get pissed over truth because she was calling them out, you know, and I love that boldness, because even growing up in this whole thing, you know, being in the Christian thing and doing ministry as a kid, even though I was told, you know, okay, just stay in your place and do your thing, I would see the things behind the scenes. There was so many times, there was literally times I would preach a topic that would go against a denomination or a doctrine, and they're chewing my dad's head off behind stage, a pastor. He can't be preaching that. And my dad going, why not? It's in the Bible. You're going to go against the Bible? And like, you know, my dad always used to be like, just preach Bible. Like, don't speak your opinions, you know, preach the word. And so I would see the same effect, you know, when Annette would stand up to sometimes leaders who you can tell they weren't ever stood up to before. And then he comes this artist.
Interesting, dude.
Right. And there's a power dynamic, right? And they don't like it. And sometimes, you know, they would throw a fight, and just seeing like, oh, wow, you could stand up, and you don't have to be a yes person for everything. Yes, you're in the Christian industry. Yes, you're an artist, but you don't have to be a yes person. You can also be a question person, like question everything and be for justice and be for the rights of people and be for like, hey man, like you're being unjust, you're being not right. You know, most of the people who would jack us for money, and that happened, guess what? They were pastors. Most of the times that they would run away and go, oh, we didn't make money. Packed house, packed auditorium. Everybody paid their ticket. And they'd be like, oh, we didn't make any money. And they would run out with the money they were supposed to pay, you know, her and the team. Most of the times they were the ones that were the pastors.
Right.
It was crazy, bro.
Yeah.
And most of, you know what's funny is that it got to a point where when there would be a non-Christian promoter, we'd be like, oh, we're going to be taken care of. And that's exactly how it happened. What they said they were going to pay, they would pay. What they said they were going to put us on hotels, they would do it. Like they came through the word. They were like the most professional when it came to that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, dude. Yeah, in my personal experience, dude, same thing, dude. I don't want to, but I want to make a distinction. Not that it doesn't happen in the English side of things, because it does.
Yeah.
But I saw a lot of that on the Spanish side of things. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah,
I'm sure it happens.
for both ways.
It's just
Yeah.
the experience that we were in. We're in more in the Latin community.
Right. But cool, man. So just real quick, dude, you traveled with her for quite a few years.
Yeah.
What was one of the coolest experiences, man?
Got to know a lot of countries. Got to do a lot of great shows. I love some of the records we did. Just the fact that I can go back and I know where I was musically. You know, hear a staple. I even know what bass I was using. Got to do a live recording that we did in 2005 with her. That was a cool one. And so I think the records are some of my favorite. And man, there's so many shows. Some of them are blurred, but some of them are cool, man. Like, you know, just experiences, bro. I remember a lot of times we would work so much and, you know, being sick. I remember one time my brother being so sick. We were like, I want to say Peru. Like, I can't remember anymore. And like, you know, this people, like security were like, well, like slack and people would just swarm us. And my brother like falling from, like grabbing onto the curtain and falling like back. And he's like, fever, bro, and like sick, and everyone's getting sick sometimes from the food, and just a lot of moments like that. But you know, we had each other's back. But it was just I remember just seeing my brother just fall, and like I just remember moments like laughter moments, and you just kind of go, oh my god, hours in the vans and buses and traveling to so many places and coming up with so many, like just for fun, just like, you know, poking fun at each other and making each other laugh and coming up with the dumbest things. I think those moments were special to me.
The road, dude.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I mean, you know, your back could take it. I don't know if I could take it now. My back like goes out just from like sometimes just doing the wrong turn, bro. But back then, you know, when you're younger and you're lighter, you're just like, oh man, I could sit here for hours.
Yeah.
Now you sit for hours, you're like, oh my god, you have to stretch a little bit, but that comes with age. But so many beautiful experiences. Like it, and honestly, seeing the audience cry, you know, just then telling us a story, what, you know, the songs meant. And, you know, we knew when we'd have to play a certain song, I already knew when the audience was going to get emotional.
Yeah, cool, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, so at this point, your career takes yet another turn, and it grows even more, dude. So tell the audience about that real quick.
Well, I go through a thing where I get the courage around this time. I'm with Annette to do my own album. So I do an album called La Razón. In English, it means the reason. And so because of the audience and that I'm around, this is kind of who I'm doing this record for, you know. So I've kind of practiced recording. I've had my hand in like arranging stuff, and I've always loved arranging songs and have all these melodies in my mind. And so together with a friend of mine from Phoenix that I met years ago, his name is Abel, we put together this record called La Razón. So that's around like towards the tail end of me traveling with Annette. She was like, hey, why don't you sing a couple of songs? And so I would say for a good almost a year. I don't know if it was a full year, but almost the last year I was with her. Like I was opening up our shows with my songs.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
Which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
I really appreciated that. So now it was like a different I got to do a duet with her on that record that we were able to record. And so people still to this day, and they still ask me for the song. And I'll get a monthly report from like Apple and Spotify, and that's still the most.
That's cool, dude.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
It's kind of nice. That's cool that people still remember. But so that was a cool little thing. So I decided to go solo with this thing. I was like, you know what? Let me go full on, give it my focus, and so I leave Annette and I go solo. And that's what I decided to do. At the time, I'm already living here in Phoenix, so money wise, you know, like I got to figure out what to do. So around that time, when I'm figuring out the solo stuff, I'm making contacts from people I've met to promote this album. I start talking to some friends here and start doing music here, start playing a little bit here. And I did do like a little tour in Mexico. I did a tour in Venezuela with the record, but the whole economy was tanking. 2008 was a weird year, man.
Yeah, it was.
And everybody that were telling me, yeah, dude, I want to bring you. Everybody I called back, they're like, dude, we're not taking any more new artists. We're not investing in new artists. Exactly what told me. They're like, if you're still with Annette, we'll gladly, like, you know, on that tour. Blah, blah.
Right.
I was like, damn, I'm not with her no more, you know.
Yeah.
So that was a tough year. That was a real tough year, just because now I'm like in a different dynamic, and I'm the one that, you know, pulled the plug from leaving. So now I'm like, what am I gonna do?
Right.
But you know, I started gigging in town. I started playing. I started doing the thing. That's around the year my wife and I started talking, and so you know, she's kind of like coming out here, hanging out. I'm doing gigs. I'm starting to get to know the scene here, and in that process, and like in 2009, I do this trip. I have a couple of friends of mine from Hermosillo who invite me to go play with him, opening up for HOORAH. We're doing Mexicali and Tijuana. Nice big, and he put the band together. I'm the bass player, and great band. And so we're like, all right, cool, man. We're opening up for her, and I get to meet this gentleman. His name is Marco Valentino, who at the time was still, I think he's still managing Marco Antonio Solis, and he was starting to manage this Christian band. And he's like, oye, ¿tú conoces una banda cristiana, Tercer Cielo? I was like, no. It's like, he goes, man, they're packing stadiums, but you know, most of the time they're doing tracks. They need a band, and they live in Phoenix. I was like, well, call me up. And he's like, yeah, I'll call you up. And that was, you know, the conversation in the trip. You know, we got to know each other. Got to meet a lot of great people there. And I got married a month after. You know,
After that?
Yeah. Like the month after that, I got married in 2009. And so I'm like, okay, like, you know, I thought that conversation was cool, but I didn't hear from it. So I'm doing my thing here in town. Then I get the call. He calls me out of the blue like a couple of months after. He's like, hey, remember that conversation? He goes, we're ready to move forward. Can you put a band together? I was like, yeah. So he goes, I'll have you meet him. I met him at a mall, and we had a conversation with
No way,
with Juan
dude.
Carlos, yeah, at Chandler Mall.
Dude, so for the audience at this point, he meets Juan Carlos, which is the main singer for
the lead.
Tercer Cielo.
Tercer Cielo, yeah.
And you meet him at the mall, dude?
Yeah, we meet at a mall just to have a conversation. I put the band together. I remember.
Like at the food court or something? Or
Yeah,
what?
the food court. Yep, exactly right there. And
Dang. Is he from the Dominican, dude?
he's Dominican.
Okay, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. But he was living here already because he had married Evelyn. Evelyn's from here, his wife. And so, you know, I didn't really know a lot of his music, but he came to give me like a few albums for me to listen to, like, the songs. I had no reference before that.
Right.
I was like, sure, I'll put the band together for you. And, you know, he told me what songs in the list. I prepared the band. We rehearsed the band in my house. I was living in Peoria at the time. And I had shout out to Chris Ramos and Abraham. And there were the guys who I put in the band. And like, let's work it out. We hashed out some arrangements. We did a rehearsal in Chandler. And
That's where they lived?
yeah, they lived in Chandler, but the rehearsal studio was because the rehearsal studio already knew.
I see.
It was SER, which is still there, actually. I haven't been there in a while. Big shout out to SER. and we did the rehearsal there. And then the first trip we did was San Diego. We went to a Luis Palau festival.
No way, dude.
Yeah,
At the arena right there in San Diego?
No,
or
it was by the beach.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, it was like
dude.
outside. It was like a big, like a big stage, and they had like BMX bikers, because they go all out.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So my first event was Luis Palau with Desde Cielo, and then from there on, we started working a lot together. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? As I hear you share that story, dude, I remember when they started to surface, man, and they became very popular.
Yeah.
And I was like 18, 19 years old, dude. And as you're telling the story, it just blows my mind because thinking back, I'm like, dude, you were the guy that was like playing their concert. Like you were their musician for the concerts, dude. Like, that's crazy.
That's
you know
cool.
what I'm saying? Like,
That's really cool.
I never went to one of their concerts, but if I would have gone to one of their concerts,
We would have met.
I would have seen you there, dude. You were the guy. That's crazy.
That was a cool experience, man.
Yeah.
Desde Cielo was at the time already in a different level. Juan Carlos is an amazing songwriter, bro, and producer, and even the way he thinks, he was always forward thinking. And I say that because, now we have all these, social media, blah, blah, but he used social media when no one else was still using it.
Oh wow, dude.
You know what I'm saying? Like
He was a pioneer in that.
He really was. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he ended up being a consultant for different Christian artists
Get out,
that
dude.
weren't using it.
Oh wow.
And big names.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I remember. And like, and he took it, he saw it before a lot of people were seeing it,
Right.
and at the time it was still like, I mean, we're talking 2009,
8,
2010. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Facebook started in 2009, and
Yeah, dude. YouTube 2005, dude. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
I
crazy.
mean, it's kind of, but he was using it to his advantage. He really was, and he's a go-getter, man. Like he's another person that will not starve. Like that guy is a
he
go-getter.
Knows, he knows how to make
Yeah, no,
Dude.
and I would see him work, and he was so fast when working in the studio and working, just his shortcuts on Pro Tools. It still impresses me, man. I'm like, man, you're quick. Like, he's just so quick, bro. And it's just he'll learn it. And he'll learn it all the way. Like it's just I remember when now he does like he produces videos, and I remember when he was learning how to edit videos and learning how to how to use a camera, and he bought it, and he was like all the the play everybody would be sleeping, he's learning something new. He would download tutorials on videos on his laptop so he can learn the tutorials.
Get out, dude.
On the plane. He would be mixing records on plane.
Interesting. Back
Mixing-
then, huh?
Oh yeah, dude. I think Viaje de las Estrellas, if I'm not mistaken, Viaje de las Estrellas, he did it in a month. That whole record. And I remember when he goes, I'd be like, yeah, man, I'm done. He goes, I'm just gonna mix it right now. We're in a plane. I'm like, what? And literally in the plane, he'd be mixing it, bro.
No way, dude.
Dude, just
Some headphones and
headphones, and he'd just be mixing it. And I'm like, that's just how he was.
so he mixed his own albums.
Yeah, he mixed and mastered most of his albums.
Get out, dude.
Oh yeah. He's like, he taught himself how to engineer it. He taught himself how to record it. Like he's a phenomenon, bro. He's amazing, bro.
Yeah, it's impressive.
He's
dude.
quick. Yeah, he is impressive. And so they're like such a sweetheart. Like they're like the kindest people you'll ever meet. Like just the kindest, down to earth people. And even at the peak of the success, and
You were there at their peak.
yeah, man. Like like it's just
They
like,
were already big when you joined. But
they
then
were already
they hit
big,
the peak.
and yeah, it was just like they were like they just how big they were just.
Yeah.
And they were doing the crossover too, like like because of their love songs and
Right. That's when they started crossing over.
right.
Okay,
So
cool.
so they had like a big audience who weren't Christian too. That
Right.
which is great. I mean,
Yeah,
and
for
they got
sure.
a lot of flack for that, which I never understood. Sometimes I don't understand our Christian community,
Right.
how they can be. It's like, why wouldn't they talk about love? Like, why? What a greater example than these two,
Right.
who
right.
you know.
And especially in the Latin scene, dude.
You're right. Like, if I'm dancing with my wife, I'm not gonna put Marcos weed, bro.
Yeah.
No offense, Marcos, but and you're cool.
Because you know him. That's funny.
I've met him.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't remember me, but and you're cool enough, I'm not gonna put Juan Bello's Señor and slow dance with my wife.
Right.
I'm gonna want to listen to something romantic.
Dude, dirty talking on that. Oh yeah, Cuando said, oh baby, I love you.
I can't dirty talk now because the song's on.
It's funny, dude.
That's funny,
Dude. So you play with them, you perform with them. It gets to the point, just because we've talked about it in the past, where you're like, dude, I think my touring days are coming to an end.
Yeah.
And you establish yourself as like an incredible musician here in town, dude, in Phoenix. And dude, I just want to tell the public, dude, who our audience who's listening right now.
They're listening. I forgot.
Yeah.
What's up? No, are you still with him though? Is he asleep? I can't tell.
This guy's incredible, man. He has become the guy in Phoenix. And I'm not just saying that because he's here tonight, but he's literally the name that is thrown around when it comes to anything music wise, when it comes to like, you need to hire somebody to perform at your corporate gig, at your wedding, at your event. You just want to hear some amazing music. Scottsdale, dude, you're there all the time too. You're everywhere, dude. And when I initially started the podcast or this episode, I said he does what he loves, and he's been doing what he loves since he was a kid, literally, as you guys just heard. But he continues to do that, man. And to this day, he literally makes a living off of music. Like he's a musician, he's an artist.
I'm grateful.
And he gets to do that for a living. And I think that's so cool, dude, because again, not a lot of people get to do that, And so
I'm grateful, man. I do. There are some times that it'll wear on you. Just the mundane sometimes, and that I think that's go even if you love it.
Yeah, any profession. Yeah.
But there's times I have to catch myself and go, you know what, man, I'm still here. I'm still doing this, and this will be an office job for me just because of my personality. Not to knock it off. Everyone is called to do something.
Right.
There's people who are great at sitting down at their desk.
Right.
And doing the numbers and crunching it. And they're just, thank
not
God
me,
for you.
dude.
Right. And not me either,
Yeah.
And I mean, the worst time in my life is always tax season.
For all of us, dude.
But thank God for people who love it.
Yeah.
And I can render my services to you. And or you can render my services to me and help me. And so I'm grateful for that, man. That's also hard. It's work, it's like, when I found myself having to start playing in town was necessity. Number one, obviously by then I'm married and I'm not touring and, that kind of income is not there anymore. My son is young. He's in junior high. And so we're like, okay, or he's in high school. I think he was starting high school already, but I have to like find ways, so nobody in town really knew that I sang. They knew me as a musician. They didn't really know I sang that well. So I have to like start knocking doors and just play, sometimes not for the greatest pay ever, but, I'm being consistent and I'm working on my set list. I'm working on what this would look like. I'm working on what it entails. What is entailed to be my own boss? What is entailed to do my own schedule, which I was starting to love. Which was totally different. In those years I toured, in 16 years I toured, I wasn't in charge of my schedule. I missed a lot of birthdays. I missed a lot of like Christmases. I missed a lot of, important stuff that it's important for family. You're a family man, and sometimes the little things. As a guy, I'm not gonna say this, but
say it, bro. Say it.
I say sometimes I say Christmas and birthdays are for women and children, but. And I say that in a non-sexist way. Because
big disclaimer. Bro, we love you, bro. You ain't gotta do that shit. You know what I'm saying?
The reason I say that is because they make a bigger deal than I think I make a big deal. I can go if I can go on a date and it's my birthday and nobody knows, I don't care. I care less. You know what I'm saying? If it's Chris, because there's a lot of times, especially when I lived by myself for a couple, like it was like New Year's Eve. I was like, oh, okay, the next day's New Year's Day. Okay, I didn't make a big deal. It's just another day, But that's just me. That's just and I found a lot of guys for the most part think like that. Now I have found special guys that go, hey guys, it's my birthday. Here's my balloon. Hug me, it's my birthday. Hug me, it's my birthday pin. Anyways, that's just a different kind of breed. But you don't make your schedule. Hey, we would like to take a trip. There's times I planned a trip and it's like, oh, I think I have this week off, and then that week got filled. So when they took vacations and when we took vacations,
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? When it was their break, then it was my break.
Right.
And that was just how the name of the game. Now is like, if I say yes, I'm saying yes and I got to show up. But if I say no, I have the option to say no too.
Right.
And I was like, that dynamic was like, wow, And so in the beginning, it took me like at least 2 years, 3 years, I would say, to like really like, get people to know me word of mouth and just doing my job. I'm really what I was doing. I was showing up. I was playing at my church and playing my local church and just show up,
Yeah.
just do my thing.
Dude, what are some of the shows that you've done now? Because now you do everything, right? From faith events to like just normal gigs,
Yeah.
What have been some of the greatest experiences you've had there, dude?
So I started a show called Desert Rose Project, and it's a tribute to Sting. And I was just, I wanted to like do a different kind of show instead of me playing at a gig, at a venue. You're eating, all of a sudden you go, oh, I might like this guy. This is now intentional. We sell tickets, and I've gotten to collaborate a lot with the MIM and do some shows there with this show, which I love. It's a great show, and it's a tribute to the music of Sting, which is all his music, but I get to play with a bigger band, which is just for me fun.
Yeah.
The bigger the band, the better for me. It's like all these textures, and normally there's me or a trio, but now with an 8-piece band or whatever, it's kind of fun. So that's been a fun one, and also like giving something different to the audience that we can do. My wife started writing a Christmas musical, and so we started producing these shows. So we rent the venue, we have to sell the tickets, we have to do the whole thing, which is a totally new experience for us. Because everything falls on us, in a sense. But it's been awesome to see. Now with we got live music, we got dancers, but we got to also bring lighting engineers, hint hint Noah, audio engineers and production, backstage, stage managers, and props.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work. Dude.
It's a lot. It's a lot of work. You're telling me, but we both believe in bringing out the creative in us, and it sometimes it doesn't look just one way, I can maybe be just stuck in being just a bar singer or a casino singer or a worship leader, but what else do I have to give? So these are ways that we're like showing, like there's a different side to what we can do. There's a different extension of what we do, and my wife being, a creative herself and being a choreographer and writing, and she loves the writing and the creativeness. I too follow along her dream and be like, all right, let's do it. I don't understand it fully sometimes. Sometimes I think it's crazy because he's a crazier dreamer than I am.
Dude.
He's just a crazier dreamer.
Dude.
And I'm sometimes like, oh, what? I'm like, I'm like the one neutralizing everything. She goes, no, let's go further. I'm like, no, wait. So it's just cool. It's cool to see. And it's just like a different extension of our creativity, being able to, the Christmas show is cool because it showcases a little piece of her story with a little bit of like whimsical and magic. Right. Christmas magic. And at the end, telling the story of what Christmas is all about.
Dude, tell the audience about
the Christmas greetings, December 20th, 19th and 20th will be this year at the Herberger Theater. It's called Christmas Greetings Musical. And it's a story of a single mom raising her boy in the midst of Christmas chaos and going back to what it really means to celebrate and to honor and to cherish the moments. And it's a beautiful story. And there's a lot of dancing, and there's a lot of different ideas and creativity, and there's a lot of music we wrote. We wrote some music. My wife, both of us wrote music, original tunes. We did a couple of covers as well. And so you'll see a lot of us on stage. Like it's a lot of.
Do you come on stage or no?
I do. The cameo. I wasn't gonna say nothing, but I guess I should sell it.
Yeah, for sure.
I do
dude.
show up. I'm not gonna tell you how, but you got to come to the show and
So you guys wrote it and everything, dude.
yep. But she wrote it most of the time. I helped her edit it, but it's really her creation as far as the writing. What I helped her do is produce this whole thing. Okay, well, we should do this song. I wrote a few songs from the scenes that she told me, and so yeah, man, that's like it's cool, and the cast has been great. A lot of local dancers. Everybody from the cast is local, and what's kind of crazy is like the majority are young. They were like new to theater. They're not a lot of like the dancers are in theater. We got a couple of experienced theater actors that are a friend of ours that we're really excited to have, and they're very talented. And everybody else has brought their A game and elevated. And this is what we want to do. We want to bring it every year, and especially if you live in the Phoenix local area, come out with your family. And it's just a family friendly. That's another thing. It's family friendly. You don't have to cover anyone's ears or eyes. It's for all ages. Everyone can experience the show, and that's what we want to do. We want to bring just entertainment to all families and with a great message. And the thing is, we never promote it as a faith-based thing. And I think one of the greatest compliments we ever got was like, I didn't know this was a faith-based. It's like, it's not. It's just, but Christmas is about faith. And because it's about the birth of God, of Jesus. And honestly, it's always spiritual, no matter what.
Right.
It's always spiritual. So we talk about it because it's important, and we love it, and we understand it, and we also want to share it with everybody. So I hope you guys can make it. Christmas Greetings Musical.
Dude, plug your stuff too, your personal stuff.
Yeah. StanleySerrano.com. I'm sure Noah's going to do his stuff on links. And also DesertRoseProject.com. And you can always follow all our social media stuff.
What's your social media handles, man?
At Stanley Serrano.
Okay.
Pretty simple. Stanley like the tools. That's what I would say. And Serrano like the chili pepper.
That's funny.
I am spicy, but I'm not a tool.
Dang, dude. You came up all that with yourself, dude? No ChatGPT guy?
No ChatGPT, bro.
Dude, cool, man. Thank you for sharing that, dude. And I want to encourage the audience, man. Go to his website because he has all his dates there, man. Where the places that he's playing, the places he's performing at.
Yeah.
And not just because he's my friend, but I genuinely enjoy seeing Stanley do his thing, man. It's like you said earlier, the level of quality and musicianship is definitely up there, dude. Very professional, and you just enjoy yourself, man. It's not like some of these places you go and it's kind of no. This guy is like bringing it, man.
I appreciate.
I love going when you're with the trio,
Yeah.
obviously, man, and stuff like that. But hey, just real quick, man, before we start to wind things down, dude, I just kind of want to get your thoughts on some things, dude. But we kind of touched base on it earlier on. In recent events, dude, specifically like in Christian music and stuff. We heard there was like big news on that guy or whatnot.
Yeah, Michael Tate.
Yeah, Michael Tate, dude. Thank you for saying that because I didn't remember his name. But
I have his albums when he went solo, because he went solo.
Okay, for a while. Yeah.
Great album.
Yeah, and then he was first with DC Talk, and then he went solo, and then now he was
with the Newsboys.
With the Newsboys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God's not dead. That's his.
Yeah,
that's his voice.
Yeah, that is his voice, dude. Which is just on that, dude. What are your thoughts? Like, I mean, specifically speaking of that genre, that space. I have my thoughts, but at the same time, not only my thoughts, but from some personal experiences too, where I was like, dang, dude, But when you heard about that, I guess what went through your mind, dude?
It sucked, only because that's not what you want to hear. But as an industry, it's not surprising.
10-4, dude.
Not surprising at all.
Yeah,
it's not a shocker. Because even in the Christian Spanish industry, I also got to see a whole bunch of crap.
Dang. let's get into that, bro.
It's just, here's what happens, man. When you idolize anybody.
Yeah.
when you give anybody a pedestal,
Mm.
when you give anybody shine a light, when you make their name greater than what they should be,
Mm.
right? This is why, if we go back to the Bible, God says, my name should be the greatest. There's no name greater.
Mm.
But unfortunately, in our society, we do make names greater. I mean, even as far as, who you elected president, we make their name greater above anybody else. And we do that. We elevate people
For sure.
because of whatever reasons people have. We just have this tendency of idolizing people. Whenever you do that, you're giving them way too much leeway. And so they start believing it. This is why idolizing people is never good. Putting people on pedestals are never good. You can admire people's talent. I feel like admiring, it's like, wow, that's amazing. But putting them in the pedestal and putting them in the place where they start getting away with things, right? Because this doesn't happen just out of nowhere.
Right.
It starts somewhere. It starts when you abuse a power, you abuse someone's, the way they view you. You abuse and you go, I wonder how much more I can get away with, right? And it just progresses. This is years. To get to this point where he's exposed, it's years, right? It should have been, somebody should have told him what's up in the beginning. Somebody should have slapped his ass, not literally. Probably would have liked it. Sorry. But
HOORAH. No, I don't even know if I should say HOORAH today.
what kind of podcast is this? It's going to be a disclaimer. But, that's just, I think the level, what happens with people, especially when you're claiming to be a Christian or a Christian person, when you're claiming to be a follower of Jesus and you're doing this for the Lord. Like, these are all words that people say, especially Christian artists. No, I do this for the Lord. I'm following his footsteps.
Right.
I'm being his servant, blah, blah. Those, careful on what you're saying and where you're putting the pedestal. And it, I don't know, man. I mean, we idolize people. We do this with pastors.
Yeah.
Right? Pastor's been in a hot seat for years now. And it just so happened now. I feel like he's just the tip of the iceberg. I'm sure there's way more.
Yeah, for sure.
There's way more that no one's talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
If they're going to talk about it because it means money's going to go away. Right? Whenever money's is in play and this is a business. And so, but I was seeing a documentary of the music from the 90s, and I saw this guy. He was like one of the first worship leaders who was selling out like a lot. And nowadays, when you sell out like that, the first thing your impulse would be to take care of yourself, get a big house, and blah, blah, blah. All the royalties from the songs that he was doing worship, he gave it to the poor and to the needy. Didn't make a single cent. He signed it off. And it was millions. It was when hard CDs were in millions. And he signed it all off because he didn't want to take glory for music that he was giving to God. And, obviously we have to make our living in our means and our ends. But sometimes you have to, when you're saying in the name of the Lord and you're proclaiming that you're an artist for God and you're saying you're walking in this route and that he's the follower, I go, okay, well then, what are we doing that actually exemplifies that? Because being on stage and being in the spotlight and being idolized is not the way. I love the Chosen series, and seeing the whole thing that they've been doing because it shows you how God was so anti idolization, even for his own son. Everybody expected the king of the Jews to be this mighty man coming in a horse and powerful and kicking all the Romans' butt. He came in a donkey in the most humble way through the worst gate, from the worst town, born in the worst town, from the people that people least. It was like, well, good can come from Nazareth,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I like that he breaks all that mold, and we like the mold. We like the stage, we like the bright lights, and we go after that, and we just stamp Jesus on it.
Right, dude. Yeah, dude. Just to piggyback on what you're saying there, dude. It's a whole nother conversation for another day because I think we're running out of time in our hard drive.
It's all hard drive purposes.
Yeah, dude. But
No one's giving the signal.
yeah, no, it's giving
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Nah, dude. But just in a nutshell, dude, I think my faith has evolved, dude, especially in recent years, dude. Specifically in things that you're saying, moving away from the music scene, but just as a whole. I worked in, I did a little bit of music, as you know, nothing at your level, obviously, but I still got to meet some people and experience some things. And I also worked in full-time ministry, the first, like all my 20s, that's what I did, you know? And I got to be part of some pretty cool experiences, large ministries, whatnot. So I saw a lot of the people that were in during that time, and I got to see the behind the scenes and not only that, but meet people within the ministry field outside of a church setting, for example, and just kind of get to know them. But all that to say that, dude, I remember, I don't know which way I want to take this, but I'm just going to say, like, back to the evolving of my faith, dude. Like, I'm at a place right now where I've had some discussions with Noah too and stuff like that recently, but especially with my wife and just people that I know that are in the faith and stuff, where I don't know where I fit anymore because I think I'm finally honing in to the true convictions that I hold. And some of those convictions, in my opinion, are very biblical. However, they don't fit the modern church mold. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to give you an example of one, and it's just one, but I'm just giving a brief example. It's like the whole thing on tithing, I've done a study on it, dude, and I've come to the conclusion that, like, in the New Testament, under the new contract, dude, the new covenant, like, it's not a requirement, dude. And so I can't work in a place where they, like, kind of make you feel like it is. And not only that, but slap on top of that if you don't do it, you won't be blessed, Right. So that, like, kicks me out of 99.99 churches, of ever holding a job down there. You know what I'm saying? Right. But that's just one of those convictions where I'm like,
well, part of the seminar to be a pastor is that they teach you how to ask for tithing and how to manage all that stuff.
Dude, I mean,
it's a business.
It's a business, dude. At the end of the day, dude,
it is.
You know.
And I don't want to be like those, oh, church is all bad kind of thing. It's because I think the language that we have to start using is understanding is that we are the church.
Yes, we're an organism, man. We're not this is the way I always say it. Church isn't a building, it's not an address. It's an organism. You and I are the church. Just real quick, dude. I don't want to get too much into the tithing, but I used to work at this church, and I was the outreach director. And I remember sometimes when I would have conversations with my supervisor, my job was to, like, oversee, like, local agencies, partnerships that we had with local organizations, both faith-based and not. And specifically when we talked about the faith-based ones, she was like, oh, you know what? Yeah, that's a parachurch ministry. And I always used to hate that term, dude, because I'm like, nah, dude, that's the freaking church in action, dude. Just because they're not, like, they don't have the name of the church that I work in and that we are a part of, like, the ministry that they're doing, that actually is very, probably even more impactful. Because, like, for example, one of those ministries was, like, working with, like, women who went through abuse and stuff like that, you know? And when you read the Bible, you hear Jesus say, like, hey, man, what is perfect religion? Those who take care of the widows and the orphans and give to the poor, Tithing is mentioned one time in the New Testament, and that's when Jesus is talking to the Jews, specifically a Jewish audience. And he's like, yeah, dude, I want you to do that. But more importantly, I want you to, like, do the other things, like take care of your parents, dude. You know what I'm saying? And I won't say any names. I won't mention stuff, because I don't want to put, like, a specific organization on blast. But, like, I've been hearing messages recently, dude, like one of the pastors of this church that I go to sometimes, he's like, yeah, God has called us to build buildings. And I'm like, what? And then he'll preach his whole message on giving, and he kind of steers it to, like, he puts you in this corner where, like, if you don't give, then you kind of feel like, damn,
Right.
Right. So that's just an example of that, of one conviction. But I just feel like, man, what's happening? And right now I'm a part of other things that I do, where I serve in ministry, but they're voluntary opportunities that aren't necessarily in the church. And I find myself having more joy, man, when I get to be a part of that.
That's cool.
Yeah, more joy.
I think encouraging your audience to understand that and breaking the mold. A lot of people are trying to break the mold already because this is tried and true, right? This is what happens. You go to the building, you listen to the message you want to give, and it's always about the end goal is to keep that building in maintenance.
That mission.
Yeah. But the real mission,
Right.
how many people in Acts in the first, when the first church was developing, there was a problem. There was an issue. The disciples were teaching everybody, but the tables weren't being served. Right?
I remember that, dude.
Right? So and they had a meeting. Hey, we have an issue. We need to have the disciples. He goes, why don't we select, it says 7 people full of the Holy Spirit of great testimony. You know what we do that in 2025? What do we do with people like that? We give them a microphone. We put them on stage and we give them a church and we go, you're a pastor now. You know what they did? They served tables, food. They went to go get KFC. They went to go get chicken and they brought it to the orphans and the widows. That's who they were worrying about. He goes, that way the disciples have more time teaching and they can serve the table. And one of them was Stephen, the first Christian martyr that we have. That was one of the 7 people. And, then the Bible tells the story of how he dies. But, dude, we have it wrong. But we think people that have gifts, we give them a mic and we put them on stage.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why they gas out, because they're trying to fulfill this idea that we've been putting on them. Most people who have been called in the Bible didn't even want to be called. Being called means, hey, you. Like if you've ever been in the military and the sergeant calls you, it's because you were called from the sergeant, not because you volunteer. Most of the time you don't volunteer.
Yeah, and you're thinking like, crap. Dude.
Right. Correct. So I've come to the conclusion that whenever it comes to things with God and when he's called us to do it, we're doing it because we're called, not because we want it. And so then it becomes a different dynamic because then it's not about my power no more. It's not about how good I'm going to be seen. I mean, Moses could have been like, cool, this is my opportunity to go kick some butt with the Pharaoh. And he said, no, I can't talk. I can barely talk. I'm not a good public speaker. Okay, cool. I'm going to take Aaron. He's going to talk to you. Now what? How am I going to know you? I'm going to be with you. You see that rod you have? That's where you're going to get the power from. And I'm going to show my power. What else? What other excuse? Bring it on.
Right. Yeah, he was giving God excuses.
But what was crazy is that when you see how much he took, like it wasn't even the call. He was fine. Dude, he had got married with a foreigner and he was a shepherd. He was chilling. I mean, he was he was a fugitive, so he don't want to go back to Egypt. You know what I'm saying? He was living his life peacefully. That's when I think God calls most of the time. Like everybody's so hard on searching and wanting and looking and desperate. And this is where a lot of the falls happen. And God's not going, I haven't called you yet. Keep being the best human possible. Keep being the best husband possible. Keep being the best wife. Keep being the best father. Keep being the best provider. Keep doing your job. Keep being the best neighbor. Keep being the best coworker. Keep being the best. Just love. Be at peace of where you're at right now. It's okay. When you're at the most peace and you love it, when God goes, hey, I got a job for you. Really? Right now? I'm good. It's like, no, I got a job for you now. Let's go.
Dude, and thank you for sharing that, dude, because I find that very interesting, and specifically in the season that I'm in right now. I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. I've kind of stepped away from my involvement in the local church, so to speak. I don't necessarily feel like convicted or anything like that if I don't go one day or I go another day, because I'm doing other things spiritually. Like I'm connected. I mean, I'm staying in community with other believers and stuff like that. I have mentors and stuff, but I'm serving in other capacities that are voluntary, that people don't even know, dude. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and I don't even talk about, like, it's just on the down low, you know? But all that to say that that I've really found myself actually living out. I was just having this conversation with my wife last night because we went to church, and and they're like, hey man, they talked about encouraging others to use their gifts, right? And and stuff like that, which is true. But like I always I told my pastor one time, I had a conversation with him, and I was like, dude, don't teach me how to serve. Don't teach me how to give. I won't say the name of the organization, but don't teach me how to give here specifically. Teach me how to be a cheerful giver, and don't teach me how to serve in this place specifically. Teach me how to be a servant. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it goes to the idea, like yesterday, where I'm all for it. The message is great, but then we get to the last part, right? I believe in getting people's gifts out and using them for God, 1,000%. But what I didn't agree with at the end, and I just kind of looked over at my wife and we looked at each other, it was like, but you're doing it here. They lead people to the here. And what's the here?
Right.
The building,
Right.
right? Like, oh, we need kids. We need help with the kids, or we need help with you greeting, or we need help with whatever it is, right? And it's like, dude, like I get you need help in those places, and that's cool. But send me out, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, teach me again. It goes.
Well, that's where your maturity comes in, and you can understand the difference of why they have to do that, because that's their income, right?
Right.
And then how God is calling you and your family to be out in the world, and that's the power you have to your kids, right? Because although he might be your pastor right now, your kid's pastor first is you.
10-4, dude.
You know what I'm saying? So what you're going to teach them, it's going to be totally different. Be like, hey, maybe it seems minimal, but sometimes even like being able to serve your friends at school. You don't know what you're doing. Maybe if you feel led in your heart, hey, is it cool if I invite my friend over for dinner? Maybe that meal would be, and you don't know what you're doing, in that dynamic. And sometimes it's like, why does this family feel different when they come into their house? What is it about the Real family that I love? What is it? Their dynamic as, if your kids, friends are seeing you guys, be like, their dynamic's different. What is it about? That they can feel it as soon as they walk in the house. That's already being a place of a family that's putting yourself in the service of the Lord to the world.
Right, to the community.
It's minimal, but sometimes it's like big for some. Like those are examples that they see and they're paying attention to, so I hate that the end product is being in that building. But if you're mature enough, and even your audience is mature enough, know that sometimes it's way more than that, and it's sometimes even as simple as like, you're paying for a meal and you see somebody that needs to be paid for a meal, go pay for a meal.
Yeah, dude.
And don't even like Jesus spray it.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Yeah, just
hey man, I hope you're having a good day. You're hungry, bro. Come on.
Yes.
That's it. Like, just
I like that, dude. Don't Jesus spray it, dude. By the way, that's going to be on our merch t-shirt here that we're releasing here pretty soon.
No, because I remember like it would be a thing like, but te quiero invitar, I want to invite you to come and now it's
always
like,
with an agenda.
It's a recruit.
Dog.
Yeah, no, don't recruit.
Yeah. Just be love. Be him.
Just be like, you need it. Like no questions asked. Like no, dude. Like hey, even if they're like, oh no, dude, get a drink too, man. Come on, don't worry about it. Like be generous when you don't even get the dollar menu. Give them a good meal, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Like like go all out. Like the way you would do it for yourself. Like hey man, I'm gonna treat myself today. Well, treat that person like the way you would treat yourself. I'm gonna get the 12-ounce steak. I'm gonna give him the 12-ounce steak.
10-4, dude. Dude, that's the key, bro. That's what it means to be a follower of Christ, dude. And I think we've missed that. I know we already touched on that. I think, unfortunately, we're trying to funnel people in instead of going out and then multiplying. I'm down with Francis Chan.
I love Francis.
Dude, what Francis Chan is doing, what he's done,
and I love what he's doing, and I know a lot of people won't do it, but a lot of people love what he's doing. Yeah. So they'll be like, "Oh my God, this guy's amazing," blah blah. Yeah. But you won't follow his footsteps because we like the lights,
we like the comfort, dude, and it's comfortable, dude.
We like the audience, we like the stage, we like the fact that people are acknowledging you as a spiritual leader, and we read the Bible, be like, sometimes the high priest would be like, we know that you're a rabbi, but they weren't saying it like that we know. They were saying it what people were saying.
Right.
They never wanted to acknowledge him.
Right. Of course, dude.
Jesus never said anything.
Mm.
People are the ones saying it.
Mm.
But you know, like,
Yeah.
but you know what we like? We like titles.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be a pastor if I don't have a church. I used to have a friend that wanted to be a pastor so bad. I'd be like, bro, if you're a pastor, you're going to be a pastor whether you have an audience or a building.
Right.
A pastor is not a person who has an audience in the building.
Right. Right.
And tithing and a name that says pastor in front of you in your own parking spot.
Right.
A pastor is a person who calls, hey man, I was thinking about you. You want to pray about this?
Mm.
And you could talk to somebody on the phone, and you can go visit the sick. You can go provide and be like, and or if you led somebody to Christ, you'd be like, hey man, well, how's your walk going? Let's talk about it.
Mm.
Like, you know, my in-laws, when they became Christian, and she has an amazing story. She got in a car accident, and the person came to her. He was like a witness. Came to her like, hey, can I pray for you? Since then on, she's been her spiritual mentor. That person's been more of a pastor than any pastor she's attended at church. Calls in, let's talk about it. Hey, let's see what the Bible says.
Right.
It says that, dude. You know, like,
Right. Dude.
if you're a pastor, you're gonna pastor whether you have the title or not. There's some pastors out there who have a job at a local office, and they think that being a pastor is having this church. But what they don't know is that being a pastor is like, hey man, at lunchtime I'm having a conversation. Hey, where are you at, man? Where's your walk? Have you considered this? You know what the Bible says? Let me walk you through. Man, a pastor walks them through. This is literally what they're doing. A pastor is a shepherd,
a shepherd,
who's
yeah.
walking through from pasture to pasture, just making sure that the sheep have greener pastures.
Right. Right.
That's all they're doing. And walking through, they're spending time. They smell like the sheep.
Right. Right. Right.
They stink like them.
Right. Yeah, which is not the case anymore. The pastor is the guy who speaks, gives a TED
Oh, my
talk,
God.
has
It's
the
a
highest
TED
salary in the
Oh,
whole
my-
organization.
And,
Dude.
no, dude, it's a career, and I
Yeah,
get it.
it's
And
a
I used to
career.
tell these young kids when I was at Central, I used to tell some of these kids, I go, man, I get it. It's a career choice in the way you're going about it. But being a pastor is a calling.
Dude, there's a podcast that I know that you like. I forget the guy's name. The guy he wears like yellow glasses or whatever.
Tim Ross.
Yeah, I think he was talking about like of how pastors or churches sometimes like take advantage of people, and they slap it with like, oh, you're serving God, you know?
Of course.
And
I had that all my life.
yeah, and so dude, like the culture, dude, I witnessed that firsthand, obviously, because I was in ministry,
Yeah.
and you know, and I'm probably gonna get some flag from some pastors or whatever, dude. But it is what it is, dude. I'm not.
It's called The
saying-
Real Podcast.
It's called the real. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Dog. Let's keep it real. And I just want to end this whole segment with me saying this, dude. As I find myself honing into my convictions, knowing what I believe, and a lot of those just being simple, like, what does it say? That's what I want to do. I find myself pulling away from what has become the norm, and I find myself, ironically, dude, doing more ministry that way, dude. Like, and again, not in the masses, but like in the individual level, dude. You know, I'm not gonna say details, but like, dude, I worked in ministry, like professional ministry, for 10 years. I think just last week was the first time that I actually fasted with somebody. And I'm not saying that to boast about the fasting. I'm just saying, like,
Right.
I never like come alongside a dude or a friend, whatever, and said like, hey, you're going through something? Let me fast with you, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And
That's amazing.
dude, and I did
Actually,
it
you
for the
don't-
first time.
You don't
dude.
hear that no more.
Yeah, dude.
Right?
And
You hear it from staff. Oh, we're fasting in the beginning of the year is always the same thing.
Yeah.
It's always about the church.
right. Like the vision,
The
where we're
vision,
going, right?
yeah.
And you know what, dude? Like I did it with just some, you know, to maybe the church even that I go to and he probably goes to. He's irrelevant. He's just another member. But he, you know, I did it with the person who I'm close with, whatever. And it wasn't even for something for me. It was like
Correct.
for that person's need, you know? And I think that that's what we're called to do, bro.
That's it, bro.
That's it. That is what being a believer is. And unfortunately, dude, you know, it just saddens my heart, dude. Yesterday I got home from church and I was just like, yet again, feeling the way that I've been feeling recently,
Yeah.
to where I don't feel like I said originally, dude, I don't belong, dude. I don't belong. And
I think you're going to have a lot more people relate with you than you think,
Mm.
because the sentiment is the same. I feel like people are asleep because the church has put them to sleep, and the church is a structure. But God's calling the church to wake up, which is who He's called.
Yes.
To wake up and to realize and to know His voice. Not to know your pastor's voice, not to know the songs from your church.
That's a good one,
He said to know your voice, right? And so He needs that wake up. That's what He's doing. He's doing, like, and people like you and people like me and people, a lot of people that you're going to be surprised. I hope you guys say something and write and comment. Let me hear what you have to say. But it's to go, yeah, I feel the same way. I relate with that. And my encouragement is not to get bummed out about God. My encouragement is to get closer to Him.
10-4, dude.
Man, and like when you get closer to Him and you realize He guides you to all truth. This is where the Holy Spirit is important. Holy Spirit guides you to Him, guides you to His truth, guides you to that stuff that you're like, wait a minute, something's wrong here. Everything you're saying leads to this, and the conclusion it doesn't lead to God, it leads to this business, to this entity. And there's the Holy Spirit going, does that sit well with you? Is that what the Father likes? Is that how He is? Is that how He operates? He goes, that's not how the kingdom operates at all. At all. And when you get closer to Him and you get closer to His Spirit, He guides you to the truth. And I encourage everybody, and I encourage you to listen and understand and see. And you understand also too, you can't bash the structure. The structure's been here forever. But what you can do is go, okay, God, I know you're real, and I know I can be used outside of here. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm just being a servant wherever I am. There's moments I was at Talking Stick Casino. My wife is praying for people in the middle. That's not the adequate play to pray. Why not? Who says?
Right.
Who says?
Right.
Who says it needs to be an altar call for prayer to happen? It's like if the person needed prayer and she asked for it, you pray. And it doesn't matter where you're at. You could be at a football game. You could be at a restaurant. You could be at In-N-Out, for crying out loud. Doesn't matter. If that person needs prayer right there and then, you pray. That's it. And it's not about making it all a thing. It's not like a show.
It's not a country club, dog.
It's not like you don't have to, hold on, let me turn on my phone before we start praying so I can show that today I prayed for somebody. Nah, man. Nah. Do it.
You know what, dude?
Just be.
Yeah, be him, dude. Be him. One of the things that I just real quick that I remembered is growing up, because I grew up in the Latino side of things, right?
Same.
It wasn't until later till I got into the English side. But yeah, in the Latino church, dude, growing up, it was always God's got something big for you, man. God's got something big for you, you know? And not just me, but in general,
Yeah.
And I grew up believing that, dude.
Yeah.
You know? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you touched on something that's key, dude. The whole idea where we want to do something for God, and God's like, man, you're not ready. It's in His timing, number one.
Correct.
Number two, like, it's in the everyday, dude. Little things, man. And that took
who's not to say what's big?
Yeah, for him, his definition of big, dude.
Imagine if it was like, all it is you be a good father, and the big part comes from your kids and your generation to come. And you don't even see it. But you're the key. And you think that you're the one that has to do something amazing and massive and big. And sometimes guys are, no, you're just a key to open something bigger I'm going to have for the next year. Because he thinks in generations, right? And all you have to do is be present, love, be the best father, and give him God, right? And maybe is that enough? Is God enough, even with that? If He doesn't do anything that you think is big, right? We think it's the big things.
Right.
But what if it was just a little thing?
Right. For me, dude, on a more secular perspective, I say that just to make the distinction, but I don't think ambition is bad. I think we're called to have some ambition,
Yeah.
But definitely I've learned the balance between that, dude. Like right now, you struck a chord with me because I was like, man, quite frankly, I haven't thought that way. It's like, cool if my kids have something to do, but I know I want to do something. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just like learning.
Because God has promised a whole bunch of stuff to Abraham. He only gave him one son.
Right, and he didn't even see it, dude. Abraham never saw it.
Never even saw the promised land, right? I mean, like he just saw one son, but all the promises were in there. Every single one, right? He didn't see David. He didn't see all these generations. He didn't see what they were going to go through. He didn't even see Jesus. All he saw was one son. That's it. And so now he has to take care of this one son.
Right.
Right? So that's it.
Yeah, that was the mission, dude.
That's your mission. And sometimes it's like, what is this big thing? We ask God for, because we romanticize what this thing.
Right. Because that's what we've been taught by the structure.
We're in this country and we romanticize everything. Everything's big. We go big or go hard.
Yeah,
right?
dude.
Right? And it's
everything's a corp here,
America. Right. That's the thing.
Let's franchise this sucker, dude.
Correct. But, you know, how many other countries where God's doing amazing things and no one's ever heard of?
Right.
How many things have been happening amazing, God's used in a mighty way, and things that we've never seen in this country, and we've never heard of those people.
Yeah.
You know, because he doesn't move in the obvious.
Right.
It's not like that. Even the way Jesus came wasn't in the obvious. Everybody was expecting one way. He did not come in the obvious.
Right.
You know, because what we think it is not. It's just really not. It's like the kingdom living is totally upside down.
Right. The paradigm.
And he said it. Those who are last shall be first, and first shall be last. You know, like who you think is the least, I think is
they're gonna be the greatest.
The greatest.
I just read that. Dude. Yeah.
That's totally different. We love greatest. Who's the best? Who's the number one? We give accolades and praise and idolization, and we throw it up, money, fame, whatever, to the greatest. If you're not the greatest, you know it.
Right.
And he goes, I'm looking at the least. At the you know, when God called David, he was like the least of his brothers. So much so that his dad didn't even put him in the lineup for him to be. He didn't even think, oh yeah, that one kid. Imagine doing that to your kids, bro. They wouldn't let you sleep. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, are these all your kids? Because we're not gonna eat until everybody's here. That's what Samuel told him. He's like, oh yeah, there's one. Oh yeah, the one I forgot. He said, but he's not. It's almost like he was the least of them in his eyes. He was the least of them. And he came in and God was like, that's the one. Was the least that God loves. God loves the least because that's where he could do the most. So
yeah, that's where he shines, bro. Dude, thank you for being here today, man.
Thank you for having me.
Dude, pleasure, honor.
No, pleasure, bro. Your producer. Shout out to your producer.
Shout out.
He has a mic. Does he ever speak on the mic?
Yeah, sometimes, dude. You know, we were going to do a live every Wednesday, dude. But then it got like a little crazy.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is hard.
Say what's up, Noah, to the camera. Hey, that's Noah. That's Noah's sexy voice over there.
Dude, we're going to have a live, dude. I know you're a busy man, but if we ever have a live and you can come.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I'll invite you, dude. And but for the live, we want to have like a couple people here, you know,
all right, that's
just
cool.
to make it a vibe, you know.
Yeah, sure. Do you have another couch?
Yeah, so I'm actually getting one because next week we're interviewing a couple.
Okay.
And then after that we're interviewing another couple.
That's cool, bro.
I
hope you guys enjoying the podcast. We feel real. You know, tell your friends, share it. That's, you know, you have no idea. Just pressing that like goes a long way.
How it helps, guys.
Make sure to subscribe. Press the bell too. Why
press
not?
the bell. Press the
you know,
bell.
Support. You know, there's a man who has a lot of ideas and wants to help out the community. And you know, especially if you're in Phoenix, Arizona. If you're not, cool. I'm glad you're listening from far away, and just support the channel. You know, tell your friends. You know, say what's up, share it, doing all the social media stuff. Keep up on what this guy's doing and his guests.
Cool, man. Thank you for that plug. Guys, if you've been watching this far, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in and for sticking around with us. I just want to tell you guys that soon we will be launching our first merch piece. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. I'll be sharing that on our social medias and specifically here on the podcast. You guys will be seeing that. But I just want to thank you guys. Love you guys. I hope you guys gained something from today. And as we always say on the With Your Real podcast, baby, Hoorah!